Good evening, everybody. My name is Arash, and I would like to start my talk by asking you all a question that, of course, you don't have to answer out loud. Have you ever wondered what happens when we close our eyes and try to get a good night's sleep and wake up the next day? Well, the answer is most likely yes, because I for sure have done so. Throughout my life, parents, teachers, guardians, and family members were all alike in their way of telling me to sleep more or to not stay up so late playing video games. And similar to many people that I've known and met, it's always been a known fact that sleep is super important for having a healthy body and mind, though I've never really paid too much attention to the details. So the purpose of my talk tonight is to dive a little bit deeper into the how and the why, and to share this information with as many people as I possibly can, because you would be surprised as to just how many people aren't fully aware of the benefits and take sleep for granted. To start, let's start out by pointing the obvious that we know about sleep. It is a natural resting period where our body and mind repairs and rejuvenates itself. We also know that during that period, our bodies go through a number of biological processes that ensure our physical health, mental clarity, and emotional stability. On the other hand, the accumulative lack of sleep over time can lead to a multitude of negative effects that will, and I really emphasize, will maim you in your day-to-day life. Interestingly though, there is a more unknown part known about sleep called the sleep architecture, which basically refers to the basic structural organization of your sleep cycle. As you can see in the image, it starts with N1, which your body basically starts to wind down and you start to fall asleep. It can last anywhere from 1 to 5 minutes. Next is N2, which is also referred to as light sleep. This stage, your cardiac and respiratory systems start to slow down. That's why it's called the light sleep. Subsequently comes N3, which is also called deep sleep. Your body is most relaxed during this stage, and your brain does something really marvelous that I think is super notable. It produces something called delta waves. These delta waves are high amplitude neural oscillations that help your brain process and render the memories and experiences that you've obtained throughout the day. Last but not least is called the REM stage, which is also referred to as the rapid eye movement. During this stage, your body is in complete paralysis. That basically means that you can't move. The only exception is your eyes and the muscles that control your lungs and your breathing. And as you can see in the image, it is also referred to as vivid dreaming, and that is because our brains dream the most vividly and intensely during this period. Now, I would like to start by pointing out that we know this information. It is researched over decades. But it's much easier to now connect the dots than ever because we understand why having good quality sleep is so important. Our bodies are marvelous machines that work tirelessly to keep us up and running, but that also means that we need rest to do so. You can't keep a Ferrari running 24/7 and expect it to work after a few hours. It needs rest, it needs fuel. It can be super easy to overlook sleep. I do it all the time, but what's really important is to know and recognize the small things you can do during the day to drastically improve the quality and the length of your sleep at night. You see, sleep loss can actually reduce cytokine production, and that might be a new word for you, but don't worry, I'll explain. Cytokines are small proteins that are super essential to having a strong and healthy immune system. Now, these cytokines also fight against inflammation, infections, and any sort of trauma that's inflicted through your tissue, whether that be if you're ill or if you're injured. Also, I want to ask something else. Have you ever wondered why on the days where you barely catch any sleep, you're so stressed? Well, that's actually because sleep loss will tank your mental resilience and your ability to cope with the stress that's induced to you during the day. Lack of sleep will and can do numbers to your brain. Decreased hand-eye coordination and accuracy, signs of developing early anxiety disorder, and slower mental response. Do you know where else we experience those same kind of symptoms? When we're under the influence of alcoholic beverages. And my assumption here is that that's not the most optimal state to be in, whether, say, you're studying or working. The obvious solution to avoid suffering from these problems is to just sleep more. Well, Arash, thanks for wasting our time. We already knew that. But it's important to recognize that it's super hard to sleep enough when you're an individual with hefty responsibilities. You have a job, you have kids, you have school. It's impossible to get enough sleep, but note that there are things you can do during the day to really set yourself up for a good night's sleep. Here's just a few things that I'm going to list out, but there's so much more that you can research on your own, and trust me, they work. Increase your bright light exposure during the day. That means when you're outside and you're getting some sunlight, make sure to stay for a few more minutes, especially if you have some sun cream. That increased surge of vitamin D3 is super, super beneficial for quality of sleep. And also, this is something I do all the time. Before I go to sleep, I spend 30 minutes to an hour just on TikTok, and as Filippo said, I doom scroll over and over again. But by doing so, I'm actually impacting my ability to get a good night's sleep. So try not to be staring at the phone right before you go to sleep. Exercise during the day. When you're fatiguing your physique during the day, you can have much higher quality sleep during the night. I know this might be a little bit difficult for some of us, but reducing alcohol intake and the amount of caffeinated energy drinks that we have during the evening is hard. But trust me, if you do so, you will thank yourself over and over again. Treat your winding down period as a priority. Treat it as something that's as important as drinking water or eating food, for it is the backbone of your health and success during the day. I truly insist that when you close your eyes this evening, you take a moment to appreciate sleep for the privilege and the gift that it truly is. Thank you.